Hey, before I get into this video, make sure you subscribe. Majority of people who watch these videos aren't even subscribed. However, I'm sure you leave liking what you saw. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get more content like this. But let's get to the video. This NBA season, as every other NBA season, has seen its fair share of heavy hitters. Players like the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Celtics have put themselves in a certain conversation that separates them from every other team in the NBA. And that is legit contenders. But just like every other season, we're seeing a new team, well, not so new, but a newer team and a younger team put themselves in the same ranks. And that's none other than the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers have established themselves as one of the, if not the most dominant force throughout the entire NBA, as they have just or are in the midst of another 15-game winning streak after already starting the season off with one, and they have an impressive 55-10 record, which is good for the best record in the entire NBA. But when you look at this roster, it's no surprise. You have a player like Donovan Mitchell, a player like Darius Garland, and a player like Evan Mobley in the starting lineup, and that's before you even get to what their bench brings. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a unique blend of star power and depth, which is something that we don't really see from a lot of teams in the NBA outside of maybe like the Boston Celtics and the Thunder, which is why these teams are the top teams throughout the entire league. The Cavs' current 15-game winning streak puts them in very rare company, as they are just the sixth team in NBA history to be able to have two separate 15-game winning streaks within the same season. This on top of their 55-10 record, which is the fifth best record that any team has had throughout 65 games in NBA season, has placed the Cavs in rare company among the best teams throughout the NBA in NBA history. And what makes their dominance so important and so remarkable, honestly, is how they've done it. Of course, they've had games where they've just straight up blown teams out, but they don't just win by blowing teams out. I wouldn't trust a team if they just won by blowing teams out. It wasn't too long ago where the Cavs were on the road playing the Brooklyn Nets, and they were down by 18 points. Yet, they came all the way back and won. And they did this without their best player, Donovan Mitchell. And this isn't the first time. They've had a couple games this season where they've been in big deficits and they've had to come back and just bite the league. But with how resilient this team is, they've come through time and time again. And they're not overly reliant on their star players, which is typically a big red flag. However, is common with teams that we see. However, this Cavs team seems like they're more so in the ranks of the 90s Chicago Bulls or the early or late 2000s Warriors, where they're just different. They're resilient. They can beat you in a multitude of ways, and they have a bunch of players that can beat you as well. If one player isn't on, like a Darius Garland, a Donovan Mitchell, or Evan Mobley, they have other players like a Ty Jerome, now a DeAndre Hunter, a Jarrett Allen that can beat you as well. Now, I'm sure everyone is wondering, why is Cleveland so good? And it's none other than what I like to call their core four, which is none other than Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland in the backcourt, and Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen in the front court. These four players make up the bulk of the Cavaliers' production offensively and defensively. The dynamic production in the backcourt from Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland allows them to have one of the best offenses in the NBA. However, on the defensive side, they're still able to be among the elite because of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen's ability to defend the rim. And at times, Evan Mobley has been a threat all over the court on that side of the ball. And the big thing I have to applaud personally is Donovan Mitchell's approach to the team ever since he's come here. When he came to the Cavs, he had a reputation as a primary scorer. Some people might have called him selfish. Some people would say he was just in Cleveland for a temporary time, as he was just going to go to the Knicks eventually. But ever since he's got to Cleveland, he's been very selfless and has allowed players next to him, like a Darius Garland, like a Evan Mobley, to flourish and develop throughout their careers. And this is a big reason why the Cavs are so good, because Donovan Mitchell has taken the backseat and has put the team before his own values. But as great as these players are, what truly separates the Cavaliers from everyone else is their elite bench. You could argue they have the second best supporting cast in the NBA, as their bench is good enough for the best offensive rating for a bench unit, as it sits at 121, 0.8, and the best true shooting percentage from a bench unit, as that sits at about 61.3%, while also ranking high in field goal percentage and defensive rating, among other things. You see, a team can have a star player, a couple star players, and starters that bring a certain type of punch to the game that set the tone. However, where a lot of teams kind of start to miss the mark is when that second unit comes in, when their starters go out, their star players, they kind of start to struggle because now you don't really have anything to do. This was the issue with the Lakers teams in the earlier 2020s. The Nuggets have this problem at certain times, but what makes teams like this, and the reason why the Celtics won the championship last year, is because you have a bench unit that can still not suffer and maintain or even gain a lead and gain momentum while these star players aren't playing. Which, when you look at their bench, is easy to see how. When you got players like DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome, who are both 6 Men of the Year candidates. Yes, you heard me. The Cavaliers have 2 potential 6 Man of the Year candidates on their team. When you have these combination of players on your team, especially with other people like a Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, among anybody else on that bench, you have a pretty deep lineup that allows you to be very versatile with your lineup so you can pair with each other. And it gives you different ways to attack whatever team you're playing. And the addition of DeAndre Hunter just made the Cavs all the more dominant, which is a big reason why they're on these 15-game win streak, because ever since they've acquired DeAndre Hunter, they have not lost a game. However, as good as this roster is, they shouldn't get all the credit. I think it's important to note how well Kenny Atkinson has been at gaining the players' trust and the coaching job that he has done when they go out there on the court. He makes sure that every player is used correctly and that no player is used too much, which is pretty difficult, which is why as of right now they're running a 10-man rotation. But as crazy as it is, he makes sure every player is used just how they're supposed to, but not overused to where now they're tired, they might feel exhausted. And although this will probably go away soon as the playoffs are coming up and this rotation is definitely going to get shortened up, it's a good problem to have. The Cavs have so many players on their roster that are deserving of playtime, but a coach like Kenny Atkinson knows who to play at what time, how to use them, what they should do on the court, and he just has a good ability to recognize situations and the different players' strengths and weaknesses, which is all you can ask for in a head coach. You know, the past coach and JB Bickerstaff had kind of lost the locker room, among other things, with that Cavaliers team. Kenny Atkinson comes in, he's gained the players' trust, he has them playing at a high level, and has them as the best team in the NBA. So, as much as credit I want to give to the roster and also the front office for putting this roster together, Kenny Atkinson definitely deserves some praise as well. And now, what makes the Cavaliers really special isn't just the roster or Kenny Atkinson, but is how healthy they have been throughout the season. As highlighted by players like Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Kenny Atkinson is, as great as it is to go into the playoffs with a bunch of wins and with the high seed, what is more important than that is how healthy your team is. If you go into the playoffs where you're injury-ridden because of whatever happened in the regular season, you really aren't going to be in the most favorable position to compete for NBA championship. And that is exactly what the Cavaliers are trying to do. So far this season, they haven't dealt with any major injuries. They haven't had any injury bugs that could derail them as they get closer to the playoffs. And that's honestly a huge win and the biggest positive for Cleveland. Especially in past years, they struggle with injuries, whether it be to Evan Mobley, a Jarrett Allen, a Darius Garland. They are coming to this playoffs with full health, and it doesn't seem like there's anything that's going to hold them back. However, they're still being overlooked by a lot of people for this main reason: experience. Unfortunately, the Cavaliers don't really have too much playoff experience in the eyes of other people. They haven't gone further than, I want to say, the second round. But you let the players on the Cavaliers tell it, they have as much playoff experience as they need to be able to go far in the NBA playoffs. They're already good, but they kind of bring up the loss last year to Orlando Magic, among other things that happened in the past that has contributed to their ability to handle themselves in the playoffs. On top of that, with a player like Donovan Mitchell and Kenny Atkinson already having some sort of experience in the playoffs, as Donovan Mitchell has been to the second round of the playoffs, and Kenny Atkinson has led plenty of teams, whether it be as an assistant or as a head coach, into the playoffs. They have some form of playoff experience and are kind of going to be able to lead the younger guys on the team who have never been in the playoffs to kind of navigate how they should take care of the bodies in the playoffs, how they should play on the court, among other things. And this is why I believe the rest of the NBA should be put on notice and realize that the Cleveland Cavaliers are legit. And they're here to stay. This whole season has just been straight dominance from them from the start. They started the season with a 15-game winning streak. They not only add the prototypical wing that they have been looking for years, but they were on a win streak before that and haven't lost a game since. The rest of the league, if you aren't scared or if you don't at least have the Cavaliers in mind as a team you have to go through to win an NBA championship, you're just plain old wrong. But these are just my opinions on the Cavaliers and how great they've been this season. I think they've been really the best team in the regular season this season, especially in the Eastern Conference, and I think they are legit championship contenders. However, let me know how you guys feel in the comments. Do you think the Cavaliers are legit contenders, or do you think they need a little bit more time? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. I'm making videos like this all the time, but that's all I have for now. Till next time, peace.